ladies and gentlemen, we ran into some technical difficulties.
Tyler pressed the wrong button, and I apologize.
So more or less, not technical difficulties, but idiocracy.
Idiocracy? Is that? You know, we all make mistakes, right, Dalton?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. You're killing me.
But no, we were talking about Mars.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We were having some ridiculous conversation. I remember that.
Yeah. So, okay, let's say you go to Mars, and maybe there's 500 people there. What is your, if it's not assigned to you, what are you trying to do? What are your goals right when you get there?
So, assuming they didn't just automatically make me the captain of the ship, because that would be the number one.
More like, hey, you're a hunter-gatherer.
I'd end up being like a plumber, dealing with the plumbing issues.
Hey, you're the shit guy.
Yeah. No, I'd probably end up like fixing things. I do like fixing things.
Yeah.
So like probably be the mechanic on Mars. Maybe there'll be some cat equipment up there, mining for copper or something.
That could be true.
There you go.
Like
right?
Space cat equipment.
Space cat. I'll run a space cat store. We'll get Murray to come. He could be our bosses.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Yeah,
that'd
right?
be cool.
I think that's what I would do. That's an interesting, like if you could start all over and choose, because I think back when I was in high school, I did not pay attention in school at all. I was an idiot in the fact I was like, oh, I'm somebody that can just figure it out. I don't need college. I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And
yes.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so like I didn't pay attention in school. I had no worries about my future. And then one day, oh, hey, Tyler, you're having a kid. So it's...
But before all that, what did you want to do after high school? What was your, like, aspirations?
For a long time, I wanted to play football. And then I did that little stint at a community college playing football. Realized the NFL just wasn't going to happen for me, Dalton. Without a healthy dose of steroids. But no. So that's what I wanted when I was younger. But then as I got older, I really didn't know. The one thing I always thought about was getting into the military. And I have a funny story about that in a minute. But, my dad and a lot of my uncles are in the healthcare industry. I always thought that'd be a good option. Like, my dad's a flight nurse, and he's got an awesome schedule, and he's always taking good care of us.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is I have no idea. It depended on the day where my inspirations would be, but I basically thought I would just figure it out.
Yeah.
So out of high school, I really had no direction, and I moved up to Tempe with some buddies for a while. I think you met some of them, like Preston and Brandon.
Yeah.
We were living up there. I worked at Applebee's. I got fired from Applebee's. That's how big of a piece I was.
For what?
I didn't show up to work, and I lied and said I got in a car wreck, and she's like, yeah, we're going to go another direction. But up there, I just had no direction, dude. But at that point, I started dating Tori a little bit.
Okay.
And I was thinking I was going to go in the military because I was like, well, I got nothing else going on.
Right.
But I didn't even have the discipline to make that happen. Like, now, this story is super embarrassing, but I'm going to tell it.
Okay.
So this is around that time. I'm probably 18, 19 years old. And I had been working at this place, Open Loop. I'll get back to that. But at this time, I was up there jobless now from Applebee's. I go into the Marine Recruiter because, like you and I were like, oh, let's just go. Let's go do this.
Oh, it's not
I walk in there. I'm sitting there with this Marine Recruiter. No direction at all. I'm sure he could tell.
Yeah.
But then at this time, I was pretty physically fit. Like I thought I was.
Yeah.
And he gets to a portion where we're starting talking about the physical requirements and stuff. And he's like, how many pull-ups do you think you could do right now? And I was like,
100.
About 30. I said that. 30 pull-ups. And immediately he's like, 30? And he stands up. He gets all of his other Marine buddies that are in there.
Oh my God.
He's like, dude, this guy says he can knock out 30 pull-ups. And they're all like, no way, no way. And so, dude, of course there's a pull-up bar at the Marine Recruiter.
Yeah,
of course there is.
Yeah.
My dumbass. So they walk me back down this hallway, and I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh
They're
my
calling
gosh.
you out.
I've never been good at pull-ups. Called me out, dude. So I get up there, bro. There's probably 6 Marines standing behind me. They know that I'm bullshitting.
Yeah.
They have to. I get up there, I knock out 4, and I start to burn. I get 5 done, and I'm kicking. I go to get 6, and I'm just like... And then I'd get down, like, and they were just like, oh, it's all right, man. You just overjudged how many you could do and stuff. They played it off like probably the most embarrassing moment of my life. Like so for you people out there, if you ever go to a Marine recruiter, don't lie about how many pull-ups you can do. Right?
That's cringeworthy.
That's bad, huh?
That's bad.
But that's the kind of douchebag I was. But anyways, around that time.
Did you really think that you could do 30? Or were you like...
Yeah, I probably really thought I could do 30, you know? Because I thought I was still in good shape.
Yeah.
But I could not.
So at this point, were you... How involved were you with Tori?
We weren't living together or anything, but we were getting pretty serious. And this is around the time, again, just my series of mishaps.
Yeah.
Which this turned out to be a really great thing for me, but I found out she was pregnant. Yeah. And so, you know, at this point, it's like everything just gets real. So it's like the Marines wasn't working out for me because they, you know, you joined the Army. Yeah. All the paperwork you have to get.
Oh, yeah.
I was not in a position where I could be responsible and handle it to get all of that paperwork done. So I found out she was pregnant. I called Chuck Hoisington, and he's the owner of Open Loop. And I had worked there before, and I said, hey, this is what's going on. Can you give me another shot? And basically, Open Loop Energy is in the mining industry. It's the industry that we're still in to this day. Yeah. But he gave me a shot, and man, once I had a kid on the way, it was like, that was the one thing that made me get serious about life.
Oh, definitely. Your mindset changes.
And I had a chip on my shoulder. It's like, when I found out I didn't have a car, no education, I was a college dropout, I was a loser. Yeah. And like, there's nothing that makes you feel more like a loser than to have a kid on the way and no plan for your life.
No direction at all.
So when I went to Open Loop, I still had bad habits as far as work and stuff. I had to teach myself like to get up every morning on time and everything. Yeah. But I was driven. And so from that point, in like 3 years, I worked my way up from basically an entry level at Open Loop into a sales position. I started going to the smelter up around Miami. I mean, I was taking it serious, you know? Yeah. And did okay with that. And I was learning about the hydraulics and that aspect of machinery. And then I went up to Salt Lake for a long time. And by this time, I have 2 kids. And I'm just gone all the time. You know, that was a fantastic job. Everything was good. It was just for me, you know, Victoria and I, we'd known each other for such a little amount of time before we had kids. And then we dove into this thing. And now fast forward a little bit and I'm traveling all the time for work. It was hard. Yeah. And back then, we've talked, I'm sure the people here noticed, we might as well get this out in the open. Man, this is pretty public, isn't it? But our thing with our podcast is to be open, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And honest. So back in those days, part of the reason that Tori and I were having issues and stuff is because the lifestyle I was living, I'd get done with work and I'd go to the local bar in some town and I'd drink some beers and, you know, and that's just what I was doing, just gone all the time and I was drinking. And anyways, it equaled me needing to get out of there, reestablish, and put my family first. Yeah. And so fast forward through that, I took a job down here at an electrical company, making way less money. Physical labor, middle of summer when I came here, just getting into summer. Yeah. It was terrible, but that humbled me. It was like I went from this spot where I thought I was the man, but to put my family first, I took this job, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. I'm making it, and I'm going to put my family first and be home every night. And then a year of that, it didn't work out at that company, and I was fired from that job. And here I am again so many years later, and it's like, okay, what am I going to do? And luckily, I got a call from Murray, and I told him who I was, and luckily I had this background in hydraulics that gave me a good foot into the door at Empire. Right. But he gave me a shot, and the day I got hired on to Empire, no more drinking for me. I was straight-laced, because that was part of the equation that I was, you know, some people are capable of having a beer after work, and some people are not, right? Yeah. And it's just in my blood to take things too far. So from that day, dude, and I could sit here today, I've had setbacks and everything, of course, but getting my life together and deciding to put my family first, start going to church and stuff, and then not drinking and not having substances, because I was somebody that would run from my problems with substances. I was always trying to escape, right?
And I think just people don't understand, I know I haven't understand, is that I feel like I can testify this. I mean, people probably disagree, but I feel like the biggest part to overall success is failing on the way there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Falling flat on your face.
Falling flat on your face. I feel like that's the only reason, or that's the only way you really can be successful in aspects of your life.
Right.
You know, is knowing what is wrong. We're not perfect. We're
Right.
never going to be perfect.
Right.
And in your mind, it's just, like I said, it's a lot harder to do. But what you're walking through your life is knowing that you're going to fall short sometimes,
Yep.
and having this overall success by the end of your life, that you know that you did good by your family and by the people that are close to you and by the people that you love.
Yep.
And I think that's a big testament to you, bro. Like, the success that you have where you're at right now. Like, I know I'm proud of you. I know a lot of people are proud of you. I know a lot of people look up to you. You know what I mean? And I think that through the shit that you've been through and having to make these decisions and having to do what you got to do, that people don't realize that those come from the failures, man. Because you've been in that shithole.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like what some people get motivated by what could be. I'm motivated by where I know I'll end up if I don't make the right choices daily.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. Exactly.
I'm terrified of who I could be, and so that's why every single day that's what drives me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just this last year, getting to be friends with you again, like where you came on board,
great. Yeah.
and it really goes to show that when you make the right moves and you make the right decisions, just like you making the decision to leave the department, I could tell you've been happier.
Yeah.
But for me, and that's just a part of my journey that I'm on, you know what I mean, is that's one thing for our listeners. I'm into sobriety and taking care of your problems and facing it head on, and that's one thing I didn't know how to throw it out there, but I guess we just did. You know?
Yeah.
And that's one thing with being a dad and all these things. You have all these pressures as a young dad, especially in this world. And I think you and I are a testament that if you just work hard and do the right things and make the right choices, you can get to where you want to be and like have a good relationship with
and
your family.
knowing that road to where you want to be.
Yep.
I sent you that text the other day. If it were easy, everybody could
That's
do
right.
it. You know?
Yep.
And
It's so much easier to fail. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah. And I think with even what we're doing now, that we're starting this podcast, we don't know what it's going to be.
Yep.
We know that we're probably not going to get as much feedback as we want, or negative feedback, or whatever. But I think I'm doing it with you. I'm doing it with my brother. We've been friends forever. And that's like, that. First of all, that's something to say in itself, that we've been close for this long. And second, like, that's how you got to do things. You got to dive in knowing you're ready to fail.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
You got to dive in knowing
That you
things
can fail.
things aren't going to go the way you want, but it's about hitting that freaking stone, man.
Punching that time card.
Yeah.
And
that's what it's about.
And it's not all about money either. Like, I was very young with no education. I thought I was the man because I was making great money.
Yeah.
But then you look at my relationship with my wife and my kids and being gone all the time.
That's what matters.
Right. And so the thing is getting it right in the right way. Like with this podcast, it's easy to, like this morning I wanted to sleep in. I'm a night shift guy. So 10 or 11's early for me. But we made the commitment that we're going to do this, and that's what we're going to do.
That's why I called you 50 times.
And called my wife and my grandma and everybody. Dalton was all worried I was gonna not show up. But no, man. So I'd like to get into a little bit of your story. I did want to just say that about, people see me drinking water, and that's part of my story.
Yeah.
And so fast forward to where we are now. Things are great. I'm home every night. And this job that we have, we talk about it all the time. I love it.
Oh,
we go to work. We work hard. We sweat. It's not for everybody. We sweat every single day, and we're not. We're busting our knuckles, but it's fulfilling work. And like every day you go home, and it's like, yeah, I did something today.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
It's been huge for me.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, and there's always stuff in between. It's not just working hard, and it's not just that. There's always stuff.
Yeah.
But it's all worth it, dude.
Yep.
It's all worth it, man.
Everybody has their bad days, and like you were saying, I loved what you said about falling flat on your face is what helps people get to that successful point.
Yeah.
Everybody falls down in different ways.
Yeah.
That was my way.
Yeah.
You've had yours. We all have our own. But the thing is you get up and you keep going after it. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I want to talk about. I kind of gave a brief Cliff Notes version of my life that got you to this point. In the last episode, we talked about our friendship in high school and how we met.
Right.
But so I guess I started out of high school. Where did you come from, and what was kind of your trajectory to get you to the point that you're at today?
So in high school, I mean, I was in Queen Creek, moved to Show Low, and then I came back to Queen Creek. I guess that's where I'll start. I started like the end of my junior year, like maybe a month before my senior year. And you've met my parents, you know how they are. By the beginning of my senior year, they were like, you got to figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah.
You got to figure
My mom's a hell of a lady.
Yeah, I didn't have the grades to cut shit, like to make shit happen the college route.
Right.
And they made it very clear to me that like you got to figure it out, man, because you're not gonna stay here and just like be on your ass all the time. So, Eric,
who's your stepdad for the listeners, right?
Yeah. Yes. Sorry.
Yep.
Eric, who's my stepdad. He was a Marine, 0311 infantry. He's like, why not the military? And I was like, he was a role model in my life at the time. I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
And the Army happened to be the best choice because I was able to go. I went into the Army as an E3 instead of an E1.
Oh, really?
Because I was an Eagle Scout and I did online classes and stuff like that.
So you had a certain amount of college. Sorry to interrupt, but so you had a certain amount of college done and your Eagle Scout, and that gave you enough to.
Well, the Army has classes.
Oh, okay.
Before you go in, if you complete all of them, and it's just like basic tactics and stuff like that, Army values.
That's
stuff
cool,
like
man.
that. And I mean, if anybody wants to go down that route, I can tell you right now that it's not all over the place, but it's called. I was in the delayed entry program for like I would say the majority of my senior year, and I was able to get access to those classes, and they give you an extra rank when you go into basic training. So maybe there was like one other E3 that literally did the same thing as me. He was an Eagle Scout and did the classes and stuff, or the college or whatever. So I went into the Army. Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri is where I had basic training. And then, after that, I did my specialty school, AIT, where I was a horizontal construction engineer, where I was basically operating the equipment we work now.
You operated cranes too. I remember you said that, right?
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, in Afghanistan, but the military standards and
different certifications and
civilian
stuff.
standards, like I would never, be able to do it that way.
I gotcha.
So after that, I deployed to Afghanistan, which honestly, I still talk to my buddies all the time. It was the best time of my life. Let me go back real quick because I thought I was going to operate cranes.
Okay.
I thought I was going to go to that school. I can't remember completely.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to go to that school. Something might happen. We were supposed to go on a mission or whatever, but we did a different school. We did excavators.
Okay.
Sorry. So, I was supposed to go to the school. I ended up not. Whatever. So, that was on deployment. We did 9 months in Afghanistan, and it was one of the best times of my life.
What year was this?
13.
Okay.
13. Yeah. Which this is hilarious. When we found out we were going to deploy, I guess our company has like a family day.
Yeah.
Where they bring all the family there. Everybody has a good time. People bring their kids and their wives, whatever.
Yeah.
And the colonel who was there, he goes, yeah, so we're going to be deploying next year. Just want to give everybody a heads up.
That's how you found out?
Yeah. At the family day.
With your family?
Yeah, with it. Well, I was out there by myself, but
oh boy.
All the family was like, "Oh, great!"
So much for our happy-go-lucky day.
Way to deliver the message to us.
Wow.
But whatever. I mean, I was like, "Wow, what a fucking time to tell that."
Yeah.
So we go to Yakima for a month, which is like a deployment training center. Then we go to Afghanistan, great time. I'm sure we'll get into that another time.
Yeah, but it was a good experience.
Yeah,
overall.
It was a great experience. I was like a fuck up in the Army before I went. I was 18, 19 years
just
old.
Young and
just dumb. Went to Afghanistan. I turned my shit around. Like,
gave you some perspective or something.
Yeah, when we were down there, like, it was like, this is the real shit. You know what I mean? So I was like a completely different soldier.
Yeah.
Come back, some shit happened with my family. Some shit happened with the chick I was dating, and I come back. I have a month of leave. I get with the wrong friends, and I fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, this is very public for me because up until recently, it's been over my head like a black cloud.
And you could leave it if you want. You don't have to. I don't want to pressure you.
No, I'm good now.
Okay.
Like, I'm good now, but I smoked weed. I got tested, and pretty much I had 45 days extra duty. I tested positive, so I have 45 days extra duty, and then they ripped my rank off my chest. I come home, and this is a testament to my mom again. She was like, this does not define you. This is not who you are. Blah blah blah. Whatever. I fucked off for like 6 months, and then that's when me and Chelsea got together, and I was working for Game Truck at the time, which is like a mobile video game theater.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And Chelsea found out she was pregnant, and
caught you off guard, huh?
Yeah,
we have that in common.
Yeah. And I was like, I got to get my shit together right now.
Yeah.
So I'm living at my mom's house at this
Gotta
time.
have insurance. It's like all this stuff swarms in.
Like, I got to figure out now. Well, at that time, I was thinking about joining the department.
Mm-hmm. The correctional department. Right?
Yeah, Department of Corrections. Yeah, I was out there in Florence, and I had tested and everything because I knew I had to make shit. I was trying to get out of my mom's house regardless, but I knew it needed to happen now because Chelsea was pregnant.
Yeah.
And so that maybe like 2 days after, the department called me and said, "Hey, your training date for the academy is this day." I'm like, fuck. All right. So then I was comfortable telling everybody that Chelsea was pregnant at that point, especially my parents.
Because you had a plan.
Because I knew what we were going to do.
Yep.
And
so getting a training day basically means if you could pass everything that you're in, like you got your shot.
So we already passed. I already passed everything.
Oh, nice.
I did the psychological, physical, all that shit. But now I have a report date for the training academy, which is in Tucson.
Huge relief for you, I'm sure.
Yeah. So it was 1 to 5 days. Yeah, I was like, oh my god, thank God.
Something going on.
Yeah, we got something. So during the weekends, I would come back to my mom's house, be with Chelsea. Then Monday through Friday, I was down in Tucson going through the academy.
Gotcha.
It was like a 7-week academy, pretty sure. And then I started at a max security unit, and everything was going good. Then we ended up switching our schedules and stuff like that. That's when I found out we were pregnant with Benson.
Okay. So you were there for a while.
Yeah, and things that were going on, like after being in the department for like 2.5, 3 years, like just there was sketchy shit. Like the Department of Corrections is like not a place to where you have a young family and you're trying to raise your kids, and it was messing with me.
I can only imagine being around just that section of society daily. It's got to take a toll on you, I would think.
Yeah, there were some things that it was messing with me in my head, and that's when I got in contact with you, and we were talking about the Empire thing. I know I interviewed. I thought the interview went well. With Murray and Lewin.
Yep. Those were the two in your interview?
Yeah. And honestly, all I could say was the only thing I got going for me is being 100% transparent, 100% honest.
That's what we talked about. Just be honest about what you don't know. Yeah. And they'll respect that rather than
I didn't know anything.
Right.
And I told them everything I do know, and just pretty much it was an interview of my character. That's what I made it about.
Yeah.
And wasn't gonna try to impress these people.
Yep.
Because I didn't know Murray or Lewin at the time.
Right.
Just be who I am.
And they're the type, if you were like, yeah, I know a little bit about cylinders, they'd be like, oh, so tell me about cylinders then. you know?
They'll call you out. So I was like, dude, I ain't got nothing going on for me.
Yep. You're just honest.
Yeah, just be honest and show who I am. And I thought it wasn't going to turn out okay. Because I hadn't heard from Murray in a while.
Yeah, a long time went by, right?
Yeah, like I think it was like 2 months or something.
Yeah, about.
And then I finally got a call, and I remember that day, me and this officer got into like a thing or whatever, like an issue.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. I'm not just saying because I'm biased. It really wasn't. This guy was being sketchy. I called him out. We didn't like each other. It turned into something more than it really was. He was like conspiring with inmates to get me in trouble.
Just bad stuff.
Yeah. Well, turns out, I get like a written statement in like my file saying, oh, on this day you had an issue with this officer. And I was like, why am I getting anything?
And that stays in your file?
Yeah, forever. And I was like, why am I getting anything? And they didn't have an answer for me. That day, that afternoon, Murray called me and I said, let's go.
You were in.
I was done. So then when I went back the next day to the department, I was like, I'm putting in my 2 weeks and I'm going to take the rest of my leave my last week. So I'll stay here for this many days. I probably called in sick on the last day and then took my week off and then I was ready to go.
And then you were starting.
Yeah. So.
And this was all just last year, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is I will be with the department, or not the department, the Empire for a year in October.
October?
Yeah.
Right on, dude. So we're getting there, 4 months or something?
Yeah, we're getting
That's
there.
crazy, man. And just that's what I love about Empire, and it's like they're not just looking for people that are master mechanics or that know their stuff. Like, they're also looking for people that are willing to learn and that have the right attitude. And like, you got a young guy with Dalton with a family that served in the Army and also is willing to learn and wants a shot. Like, I love that about Murray. Same thing with me. Like, I had a lot to learn and he gave me a chance, you know?
100%.
And you've exceeded my expectations because you've come in and just with that attitude, everybody gets happy when Dalton walks up because you're just one of those guys, right? And with your machine knowledge, just how they navigated, you were in the lube shop for a while and now you're doing repairs and you're
honestly, I can't with that, like, I feel like because I know who I am, I can't give any credit to myself. I gotta give credit to the people who put me in that position and trained me. You know what I mean? Like with Colton, he knew how to manipulate that path of where I need to go. And with Brandon, dude, I know you've talked to Brandon a couple times.
Lube Brandon?
Yeah, Lube Brandon.
Yeah.
That dude is so on point with just like our main thing is like he knows that he's been doing lubes for a long time.
Yep.
But the service report wise, the notes wise, the communication wise, like there's nobody on that line of him. He makes sure all of his stuff is all right.
And that's huge.
And he always calls me out if I don't do it right. He'll be like, I know I didn't teach you like this.
Yep.
Just make sure you do this, this, and this.
Yep.
You know?
Don't just pencil whip stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what's funny about our job is like 50% of it is fixing tractors and then 50% of it is like being organized with your repairs and your notes and all that stuff. And there's a lot.
Yeah, being organized, communicating, and making sure that the dude that's coming in and going to follow you knows what's going on so we can get that machine.
Yep. And for the people listening, like at our shop, and we don't want to get too deep into Empire because we're not sanctioned or anything, but say there's a repair and a tractor down, we've got 2 shifts. So if Dalton's on something and it doesn't get finished, he has to organize it well enough so that the person that's on it next can come in and be able to take over from there.
And not take 2.5 hours trying to figure out what's going on.
And that was a really good point with giving shout out to the people that helped you get there because I was the same way. Like I had a little more experience, but so much to learn still, that.
Yeah.
We'll be learning for forever, but the people that were willing to take a second and not just be like, oh, go do this, like to take a second and show you why you're doing what you're doing. And it's huge. And so fast forward to today, we talk about it all the time, like, and we've said it a couple times on here, but it's just, I'm super happy with the work.
and just what it does. What I come home and.
Do you feel like it's helped you?
Oh
with
yeah,
your
with
personal
my mental
life?
state and,
Yeah.
and my personal life. Oh yeah, 100%. Because like you said, that fulfillment is a part of none. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm not. I can turn it off when I leave.
You're not like wrapped up in it.
Yeah, because but I think that's a part of what our job is. Like, I know I did good today. I know everything's ready to be followed, and I did that while I was there.
Right.
So I can shut it off when I go home.
You ensured that nobody has to call you and be like, what the hell?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's black and white.
Yep.
That's all I want. With the department, there's so much gray area.
Yep.
But with Empire, it's black and white. We're fixing machines and we're putting them out there to push dirt.
Yep.
And that's what it is.
You do what you're supposed to do or you don't. And
Yeah.
it was the same with me in sales. Like, you go home at the end of the day, and we were talking about this, like, you don't know if you did good that day or not. It's like, we have feedback every day to where we know I did good today or I didn't. Like,
yeah.
And that's huge.
Yep. I love it, man.
I'm happy, dude. I'm proud of you for you stepped up, and it's not an easy industry to get into. The people can be rough sometimes, the culture and stuff, but the culture's great out there.
Yeah.
But it's not an easy thing to just get in and learn that stuff, but you've done it seamlessly. Like, so I'm proud of you, man. I'm happy for you. Yeah,
no,
dude.
And dude, I can't thank you enough. I know I told you that
Yeah.
for giving me an opportunity, for putting my name out there and it sucks that we don't see each other all the time at work.
Yeah.
But I mean,
One of these days we'll get on the same shift.
Yeah.
But, and that's and for people out there, we're at the same shop, but I'm on nights and he's on days.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I wanted to get into that, and it seems like both of us are on the right track when it comes to our families, and just it feels good. I'm sure you can relate to, like, when you were at the department and when I was in sales, I always felt like I was gonna do something different at some point, or like like this can't be it.
Yeah.
But like where I'm at now, it's like we could spend the next 15 years learning and get to that master tech level, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Yeah.
But there's also, you could go like Murray did and get into a leadership role. There's just options,
There's
man.
so many
It's
options.
awesome. So.
And I think, like, with the department, I remember looking at guys or sergeants or leadership, deputy wardens that have been there for 20 years, 25 years. Those people aren't happy.
Just miserable.
Oh, they're not happy.
Yep.
I mean, maybe in the deputy warden wise, because they really don't do shit. But,
right. They've at least made it to a point where they don't have as much.
And the unit that I was at, my leadership was changing on a weekly basis, like with deputy wardens, with lieutenants, with everything. So we never knew what was going on or what they wanted. There couldn't have been a set standard. You know what I mean? Even my first line supervisor. So, and that was another attribute to me wanting to get the hell out of there.
Yep.
And
I remember you were pretty frustrated because it took so long to call you back. Yeah. And I told you, like, that's just this industry, dude. Like, there's some mines around Safford and stuff that, for people listening, copper mines, like, if you apply for the actual company, like FMI or wherever, a lot of times it'll be 6 months before you hear anything.
Yeah, and then with Murray, when he called me, he was like, hey, I know it's been a long time, but I had to get some pieces in place.
And he came to me before he called you, and he said, he pulled me aside, and I remember I was so happy, dude. He's like, do you think your buddy, he couldn't remember your name, do you think your buddy, what's his name, and Dalton, would still be interested in working here? And I was like, I bet so, let me call him. And you were a little salty on that phone call, because I think, who wouldn't, like, you go and you get all excited, and then you don't hear anything for 2 months. But then I was super happy you came on board. We've got you, my little brother Garrett, shout out to Garrett. And,
shout out to Garrett.
Dalton and Garrett fight like cats and dogs.
Yeah, I mean, most days we just look at each other and don't say anything. But no, that's blood right there. That's my brother too. Mm-hmm. So.
It's a good thing, man. And so you're doing good. I'm doing good. And what else is there, man? How's your family doing?
We're doing good. I mean, we're supposed to go get haircuts today.
Yeah.
I know I need.
You know I cut hair, right? Ask Garrett.
You cut his hair?
Dude, I used to cut my brother's hairs. I used to, maybe some people now that we're on social media can reach out. I used to cut people's hair in Thatcher all the time. They used to come to the shack for a cut.
The shack?
Yeah. It's only $10, bro.
Really?
Yeah. I'll do do it for free. But I'm pretty good.
I mean, do you have the equipment?
Oh, I got the equipment.
Oh, okay.
But you got to drive to my house. So
Sports Clips is right down the street.
Right on.
But no, the heat, man, and my hair is long.
Yeah.
I can't, and we gotta wear masks all the time now.
Oh, those masks are brutal. So everybody listening, we got to wear these masks. It's like those. What do you call those? The
neck gaiters.
It's like neck gaiters. So those are the ones we're wearing, which are better than the just physical masks.
I switched it up, bro.
Did you?
I switched it. I couldn't take it because like the hair is long back here, so it would just be
dripping,
and then it would stay right there. So I switched it up, and I cut the bottom.
Yeah.
And I just got the top around my ears, and I keep it like that. And
there you go.
It's better, bro.
I might have to try it because I've got some of those because it's
my
just
neck fucking bugging me, bro.
Well, and lately the shop's been so full. I worked outside all week last week, which I'm not feeling sorry for myself, but dude, it's hot. Especially we have to wear we wear these big coveralls, which are white, thank goodness, but and then these neck gaiters, and it's just, bro, it was 110 the other day.
I don't even look at the temperature. I just know
depressing.
That it's Arizona heat, baby.
Yep. That's why I cut my beard. My beard used to be down like it was like 8 inches, and I had to trim it up, bro.
Because of the mask, bro, I might be shaving my shit.
Yeah, all the way.
Yeah, like because just
keep the mustache, dude.
Does it not bother your beard?
Well, I had it bothering me really bad because it was long,
and
so it was an improvement up to here. Okay. So I'm good.
Okay.
But,
embrace the suck.
But so your family's doing good, your wife's good, my kids are good. We don't know what's gonna happen with the baby. My baby?
The gender reveal when you'll know the gender.
We already know. It's a boy.
Oh,
remember?
Duh.
Yeah. So people out there, I've got a son due in October. I'm super excited about that. I've got a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old daughter. My 6-year-old doesn't know what's going to happen with the school year this year. That's a weird one. Your kids aren't school age yet, huh?
No. Well, Wayne's going to be going into preschool.
Yep.
So.
It's just a crazy, with all this stuff going on, and it's hard to know what, like Victoria had to homeschool for the last little portion of the year. And, my kids get cabin fever a little bit, but it is what it is. I think this will be one of those times that we look back on. Be like, remember back in 2020, we had to stay home? And
you know what's really bummed me out? I mean, maybe it can still happen, but Black River, bro.
Right. Yep. Well, in this, I'll have to double check, or some of the listeners can look into it, but I used to go to Black River once a year, every year, and then I started going twice. I'd go once with the family.
Anybody who hears this, if you know anything about Black River, people are going up there and fishing.
Yep. So from what I hear, it's going to be shut down for the rest of the year because I don't know if it's the Navajo Nation or white. Anyways, the reservation up there, all the reservations have been hit super hard, and you don't hear about that on the news or anything.
What about off the reservation though? Because I know that the Black River goes above.
We might be able to get up there and do some trout fishing. All the spots I know of in the north and south are on the res, or you have to go through the res. I'm pretty sure, but maybe we could look into something.
Because I think it's more north, with like almost at the start of the river, and that's by is it Greer?
Greer is by where I go, so
okay.
that's lower,
I
but maybe further up.
Yeah, I think further up. It's off the res.
Okay.
And I haven't looked into it because I was just freaking heartbroken about it.
Well, that's for the listeners. Dalton and I were trying to plan a fishing trip, and like I said, Black River used to be the spot. I'm sure a lot of you out there know about that place. It's just bass fishing, and it's incredible. Smallmouth all day.
Yeah, and the north side, that I guess more trout are up there.
Yeah, so once you get further north, there's trout in it, but I've always just been where the bass are.
Yeah.
We'll have to figure something out. That'd be fun to get some videos up of us fishing.
Yeah, dude.
That's one thing I forgot to mention last time. Like, you're going to be more of the sports guy, but I'd like to, as it gets into hunting season, once it gets a little colder, we'll be doing predator calling. I want to take you out and get some videos of getting coyotes and stuff.
Yeah.
And my dad, he's like, he wouldn't admit it if you asked him, but he's like the pro in my eyes, dude. He's a really good varmint hunter, and he gets bobcats and fox, and he'll like skin them and get the fur and everything, and he's all into it. He uses so fox have a bigger nut sack than coyotes do.
Okay.
And so he'll take the nut sacks and treat them or whatever and make coin satchels. Get a shifter for your truck or whatever.
Yeah.
But once it gets colder, we'll be into that. I've got an elk hunt this year. We find out soon if we got drawn for deer. So I'd like to keep you guys up on that, and any fishing trips we take too.
Yeah,
Because that's what sucks about what's going on. Back to the COVID thing, it's just hard to know
what the hell's going on.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
The welder Sheldon, he got picked for his bow hunt for elk.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's been going out to a stand on the 7 days on.
He's pretty hardcore, huh?
Oh, dude!
Shout out to Sheldon.
Yeah, he's 100%.
Yeah.
Like I even was like, hey man, let's hang out or whatever. He's like, gotta practice with my bow. Gotta practice with my bow.
Bow hunting is. I just barely got into it a couple years ago, and it's just like him saying that, dude. It's like it's something that is so fun just to practice, just to target practice and shoot and get better. You need to get yourself a bow, dude.
I know. I'm. It's in the works.
It's in the works.
It's in the works.
Yeah. It's fun, man. But no, I was gonna say my family's doing good. But we're like everybody else. We're trying to just keep our heads on straight with the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
Everything going on. It's an election year. It's craziness. So it's hard to know what the facts are. But my kids.
How much time till the baby's born? Sorry.
About 4 months, right? In October 16th, I think is the due day.
Dang. Man.
Still trying to come up with a name. I'm a fan of. So I've got this great grandfather, Grandpa Ebenezer. Rice.
Yeah, no, I know.
He was a shipbuilder's apprentice in Scotland. His story's crazy. Ended up down here. It's just awesome to me.
Yeah.
Victoria's not on board. I'm down for it as a middle name even.
Yeah, for sure.
You know.
And you were telling me some other names.
Then there's Byron. So Victoria's, rest in peace to Bud. Victoria's grandpa Byron. He went by Bud, just passed away about maybe a month ago. Probably not even that long. But this guy... He was in World War II as a young man, Korea, and Vietnam later on in his career. Just an absolute stud. He retired as a brigadier general or 2-star general, however you say that.
Yeah.
It might have been 1-star, but I know he was a general.
Yeah. Anytime you get up to that rank.
And just crazy, right?
Yeah.
And we were lucky enough. One time we flew out to Virginia Beach a few years ago and got to go visit him. Just the happiest go lucky guy. And
so awesome.
Just his story, like he was an orphan too. Didn't know his parents dropped him off, and he grew up and lived a life like that, and just amazing.
Wow. Yeah. I've been a fan of Byron. I've been a fan of Nathan as well.
Nathan. Garrett used that for Baker's first name, but we might have to work that out. It'd be cool to have little Nate.
Running around.
But yeah, my daughters are excited. We're super pumped. For me, I won't be the only boy in the house anymore, so I'm excited.
Yeah.
Just to have a son. You know all about that.
Oh,
A son to take fishing and stuff, and yours are finally getting to that age. I feel like from when they're infants to like age of 3, it's, for me, not my favorite part. My favorite part is like after 3 once they can talk.
I'm ready to like
get out
Wayne,
and do stuff.
He's starting to, we're having conversations.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like, what is this, Dad?
Yeah, and I love it, man. But I do like the baby phase. Like I spoil Benson like crazy.
I like it. I just, now that my kids, like I've got a 6-year-old, which is crazy. Can you believe that?
She's like one of the most beautiful little girl I've ever. You're in trouble, man.
I am in trouble.
You're in trouble.
But she's just, and she's smart, she's funny, she's the best, man.
Yeah. And Blair she's a firecracker.
She is. Didn't she punch Wayne in the face the first time they met?
The first time we hung out.
That's the youngest sibling for you.
I've been wanting to talk about this. I think this.
Okay, let's break it down.
You know when you hang out with somebody, even though we have been friends with, this is the first time we actually hang out since you came back.
Come to the house, and it's stress inducing.
There's like an awkward energy.
Yep.
Especially with kids.
Right.
So when that happened, do you remember me? I was like, hey, but that's your kid.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's your kid. I don't want to like step on any toes, but at this point I'd be like, it would be a totally different situation.
Right, because you know them and be like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah, or even like, just, you better fucking suck it up. Right. But we were just like rekindling everything.
Just breaking the ice,
Yeah, me and you were catching back up, and I wanted to say that to you, like, dude, it was such a weird encounter, especially with kids, because people are so defensive of
Well, and especially the last time that we'd seen each other was we didn't have kids.
Yeah.
So many years ago.
Yeah.
And then now we've got kids, we're at your house, and it's like, it's like when you don't see a friend for a long time, you know that you guys are good.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But then you throw in the kids, and it's like, oh, you got to make time to get all the way out there and drive. It's like, and pack them in the car seat. It's
and then Wayne hit Blair with a book, and I spanked him.
And then Blair ended up having a ear infection, so it was just like,
oh my
it's
gosh.
typical, right?
Yeah.
It's like, of course.
Let's not do this again.
Yeah, I'll see you at work.
Yeah.
Is there anything worse than, and I don't know if Chelsea does this, but Victoria's like a social butterfly.
Yeah.
Like, she loves making friends and meeting people. And with the COVID stuff, I'm off the hook, but she loves like getting together and doing dinner with people that she's friends with, but I don't know. Oh. Is there anything worse? And that's just a testament to her. She's awesome at making friends and everything. But for me, I'm like, I want to stay secluded. My default is to just be at home in the dark corner, like not talking to anyone.
Yeah, I don't want to meet.
Is there anything worse than going to somebody else's house or a restaurant and like, hi, so what do you do for work? Let me sit here and pretend like I care. Oh. It's brutal.
Luckily, me and Chelsea are the same. We're like, we've met all the people we need. you know what I mean?
We're good.
Yeah, like I don't need to meet nobody else.
Yeah.
But but I cannot stand it. Even when we went to your house for dinner, I was like, yeah. And Chelsea was like, "You're cussing too much," and I was like, "I'm just being."
Your wife starts telling you like, "Hey, you need to not talk so much." Yeah. You're like, be nice.
I was like, I'm being who I am. She was like, oh, well, we're probably not going to get invited back.
No, man, we need to do it again. That's the thing, like, once you get that out of the way, then it's, like, all good.
Yeah. And especially with what we got going on now, I think it's great.
Yeah, it's fun, man.
We got to get Garrett to come out.
Yeah, Garrett, dude.
That guy's a freaking homebody.
Garrett, you got to start hanging out with this dude. We'll do an episode with Garrett. He's not a big talker.
No, he's not.
You should do a video game one with him. You could just talk about video games.
And he doesn't want to play with me anyway.
Yeah, you're pretty brutal when you talk crap, though.
He's such an easy target. And he gets so offended.
Oh, man. It's funny.
Yeah, once I start putting him down and I'm playing competitive Madden, I don't hold nothing.
You should hear this guy. Well, you're doing your live streams, right? You better not tone it down on the live streams,
Oh, no,
dude.
They're bad. They're bad. They're bad.
Oh, my gosh.
I think I said last time I was playing this guy, I was whooping his ass, and he was just doing the same plays over and over again. Yeah. And I was like, it's like fucking playing with a 12-year-old. Like, something like that. Like, I can't help it. Like, it just comes out of my mouth when I'm playing that game because it drives me nuts. Yeah. Love to hate. Love to hate.
Love to hate. I bought an Xbox so I could play with you guys, and
you couldn't figure it out.
Victoria, I had her sell it about 2 months later because I couldn't get it to work, and I was like, hell with this.
Well, what's your
internet? I tried, though. It's CenturyLink, which is terrible.
Yeah, I have the best internet that Cox has to offer.
Oh, yeah?
So, maybe make an upgrade.
Well, if you like to spend all your time playing video games, that's the option.
That's not all my time.
What other hobbies do you have?
This podcast. Burrito reviews.
There we go. Good deal. Well, what do you think, man? It's episode 2 in the books,
Episode 2, man.
So tell the people one more time. Hopefully we can get the social media accounts just with ManLab. We haven't had any name issues yet. So be looking out for that. We'll definitely be promoting it on our personal accounts and stuff.
So we have a ManLab YouTube channel. We'll be sharing that on our personal accounts. We have a ManLab Twitch account. We have a ManLab Spotify account. We're working on the Instagram, right? You said they're dropping this week.
Yep. Instagram and Facebook will drop this week. And that one, we're just going to put up funny...
The Facebook one's there, but our content is going to
Content. Yeah. We'll get our content there.
I think we need to hop on Twitter as well.
Okay. I'll let you run Twitter because I don't know Twitter.
Okay. So we'll
figure it out, though. And
by the end of this week, by the time our next podcast comes out, we will have every social media account for you guys to have more access to tune in if you're having a good time and enjoying us.
Yep, and on our socials, like on Instagram, for example, we'll put pictures up of us working. You guys send us funny stuff. It'll be lighthearted, funny stuff we're doing, whatever we got going on.
The more you report back to us with anything that you feel like, we're willing to put it out there. We want to hear from you guys more than anything.
Yep.
Any type of feedback. Seriously.
Feedback's good. Like Cassie, I appreciated her because she gave me some good feedback.
That
on
was
like
great.
pointers on stuff to do.
That was
it's
great.
not like we're sitting here with our noses up to everyone. Like we're figuring this out. So
yeah, we're on the go.
Give us feedback of topics and stay tuned.
Heck yeah, man.
Man Lab Podcast.
Let's go.
All right, bro.
Awesome.
We've done it again.